Welcome to another episode of Walk with Elias. I am your host, Elias J. Williams. And today we're going to take a look at the incident that happened out in Dallas at the True Kitchen restaurant. It's a twerking scandal. Now, some quick backstory on this. An owner is hosting a party in his restaurant. There are some ladies at a couple of tables that are twerking, and the owner walks over and politely requests that they stop. One woman decides that her response to that would be to stand on a table and twerk. And then the owner responded by stopping the party, addressing the crowd, going into further detail about why he didn't want twerking in his establishment, and then suggest if anyone has a problem with it, they could get the fuck out. Now, he's receiving backlash for being a traitor to the culture for not allowing twerking and also being unprofessional because he used the word fuck. So we're going to discuss that. Take a walk with me. So, one of my main issues here is there's a clear lack of respect for the authority of the black man in the African American community. The masculine black man, should I say. Black man says don't do something. Black girl or black boy basically says, nah, fuck you. Nigga, you ain't my daddy. In a nutshell, we got the you ain't my daddy syndrome because many of us lacked a male influence or father figure while growing up. So it results in a lack of masculinity in our males and an over identification with the masculine in our females. Shows up in our women as them being loud, obnoxious, disorderly, rambunctious. Any adjective for not ladylike would suffice. Meanwhile, it shows up in our men. Well, they look like Kev on stage, who decided that he would make a funny skit by making fun of black male masculinity while being feminine and doing it. AKA, he was acting like a bitch. No offense to the bitches.
So if you think I'm here for fun and games and twerking, you are sadly mistaken. Second of all, this is a restaurant. Get off my tables twerking. This is not an episode of P-Valley, and you're not going to be getting naked and ratchet in my establishment. This is a classy restaurant where we serve Hennessy slushies, okay?
Kev looks very comfortable imitating a woman. If you can notice that. I mean, well, shit, you see it. He looks very comfortable imitating a woman. Rolling his neck, the stance, snapping his fingers. That's a problem. You would expect another black man to support the authority of another black man. And instead, you get an example of what the over-identification with the feminine within another black man looks like. Just like Kev on stage. That's a problem. Now, when I look at some of the rhetorics that I've seen, because the disrespect is there. Even when you think back to Antonio Brown's situation with the Steelers, Mike Tomlin, another black head coach, a very good head coach, might I add, has a rule, sets a rule, a guideline, says no recording in the locker room. Everyone else abides by the rule. Antonio Brown decides he's going to break it. He eventually gets kicked off the team, takes a few shots, but then goes to two other organizations with white head coaches and is the fucking model citizen with both the Patriots and the Buccaneers. And even though he got cut by the Patriots, it wasn't because he was acting out while on the team. It was because he had another situation that was kind of marinating and they could not be associated with that. But all things equal, he behaved. For whatever reason within the black community, we will follow behind a white man before we follow behind the authority of a black man. Now, when I look at some of the rhetorics to this, the responses to this on why the owner is a traitor to the culture, the first one I get is that, well, he can do it, why can't I? There's a video of the owner at a previous point in time dancing on the table in his restaurant. his establishment. He can do what the fuck he wants. You pay the bills, you make the rules. If I want to eat in my bed, but I tell my kids they can't eat in their bed, they better respect what the fuck I gotta say, whether they agree or not, because I pay the bills. You can do that shit when you're the owner. All you need to do is respect the authority when you are asked not to do something. Very simple. The other rhetoric seems to be, here I am at a nicer restaurant that's white owned, and I'm twerking, and they not doing anything. They not telling us anything. Those white people don't give a fuck about you. They will let you act ignorant, act a fucking fool, act like a monkey. Take your money, talk about you in private, and then set rules to make it harder for your black ass to get in there the next time. Or make it harder for black people that do know how to act and may want to go to a nice restaurant, make it harder for them to get in. You look like a fucking idiot. There's a time and a place for twerking. There's nothing wrong with twerking. It's when you're deciding to twerk, at the location that you're deciding to twerk. You should not be twerking in a fucking restaurant where there are fucking tables. You go there to eat, not to twerk. Now, had this been a party or a club, you wouldn't hear anything from me. But these are restaurants, establishments for eating, for enjoying a nice dinner, for dining, not for fucking twerking. If you agree with that shit, you're a fucking idiot. Stay away from me. The final rhetoric that I've gotten is that he used the word fuck, which made him appear uh, less business-like, less professional is the word. Well, my response to that is simply, if we're standing across from each other and you poke me in the chest and I stab you in your fucking face, sure, you have the argument that maybe my response should have been equal to yours, as in I should have poked you back. But you can never dictate how a person responds to you. What would have been easier is if they would have listened the first time he asked politely to stop twerking. That would have been easier to do. That would have then not resulted in him having to reapproach the entire party in the restaurant and then have to use a word like fuck, as in get the fuck out if you don't like it. Now, can you argue that he could have been a little bit nicer or he could have not said fuck? Absolutely. I'm not condoning that he said fuck. I am simply saying don't allow that to distract you from the fact that there would have been no reason to have to approach the crowd if his suggestion, if his order, if what he asked would have then been followed in the first place. The defiance is real. Please learn to respect black men that actually act like men. Shout out to the feminine women in the world, the feminine black women. It's not that you're forced to submit. You just probably were raised properly. Everyone has an order in the world. You fit that order. The man is masculine. He has a penis. He is there to penetrate. The woman is feminine. She has a vagina. She's there to receive. Women acting like men and men acting like women is not how the world got to where it is now. Procreation is necessary. Now, that has nothing to do with your sexuality, but again, everybody has their role to play. Learn to fucking play it. Now, my final point on why the owner should not be chided, well, it's simple. If you ever lived with your parents at one point in time, hopefully a lot of you did, understandable if some of you didn't. But one of the things they would always say is, do as I say, not as I do. I love you today. I'll be here tomorrow.